Schecter guitars. Not something you really often think about when you are looking at a Gibson Les Paul. You might be thinking of this or a little bit of that when it comes to Schecter guitars, but they have a deep, rich history, and today I'm going to marry some Schecter Route 57 humbuckers into this Gibson Les Paul tribute. Let's get started. Welcome back to the 11th Fret, everybody. My name is Chris. I have missed you guys dearly. I really appreciate you coming on back. If you're new here, make sure that you hit that subscribe button and the bell notification to be notified when I upload new content. And if you're returning, I really appreciate you guys coming on back. It has been a while. And realistically, I just want to quickly express my thanks to each and every one of you guys who've found me through Reddit and through Instagram and all the social media that I've been very active in when it comes to, just keeping this brand alive while we've been in this strange transition period trying to get into the new digs in this new place. So as you can see behind me, this is sort of the new set, but not really fully put up yet. It's still growing. I have no guitars on the walls because I have no place to hang guitars on the walls, at least not yet. That is going to be coming in due time. So the Gibson Les Paul Tribute, this is a 2017 that I picked up used, I want to say maybe a year, 2 years ago now. I've loved this guitar. It's kind of one of those sleepers. I picked it up in a trade where I got rid of a guitar I was just never playing anymore, and it was a straight across trade, and I felt like I walked away from that deal with an advantage. This became a guitar that I played a lot. I kind of have like a hot-cold relationship with the stock humbuckers that came in it. So stock humbuckers that were in this was the 498T and the 490R, both from Gibson. It also had the Quick Connect system that was installed, which is like a PCB board-based harness, and I just wasn't a fan of it. I got another guitar recently, another Les Paul, and this new Les Paul just beat the snots out of this one as far as tone. There's way more presence, way more bottom end. It changed the way that I perceived how I wanted my Les Pauls to sound like, especially when it came through like my new rigs. So I have, as you can see behind me, I've got a Marshall JVM 210H back there, and it's really just kind of changed the way that I want my tone to be. And I know that not everybody's a big fan of Gibson and things like that, but realistically, I wanted to find something different for this guitar. And I thought, you know what, let me see what I can find out there on the market. And I reached out to different pickup builders, and I'm also working on another video regarding pickups. But while I was at it, I thought, let's see what I can come up with when it comes to pickups. And I wanted a PAF inspired, like a late 50s sort of sound. There's been reviews of practically everything out there. I mean, we could look at all these different brands and we can stack them all up, but there's one brand that really just jumped out to me, and it was a brand that's talked about a lot on YouTube, and this brand is Schecter. And when you think of Schecter, you might think of like, nu metal, all that stuff, flat ironed hair, and much respect to that. I'm not knocking that in any way, shape, or form, but Schecter has a much deeper history. They are known originally as a mod shop. Schecter used to make replacement parts for a lot of bigger brands. So I thought, you know what? They have a custom pickup shop up in Sun Valley where they're based out of, which is just up the street from the 11th Fret. So I reached out to them, and they were very gracious, and they hooked me up with a set of Route 57 humbuckers. Today, we are going to be putting in the Schecter Route 57 PAF-inspired humbuckers into this Gibson. I know, it's a little weird. I'm still kind of like going back and forth with this whole idea, but I think it's deserving. It is high time we check these pickups out. So let's get started. We got a Schecter Route 57 bridge pickup. And these are hand wound in California, so these are not imported. These are made here in the United States, and they are pretty looking pickups. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. And what's cool about this one too is it also has a 4-conductor wire on the back, so you can do coil splitting if you want. I'm not gonna do that. I'm just gonna wire this up the standard way because I like my Les Pauls to be Les Pauls, and that's that. So here we go. Now, real quick, I'm not going to waste these strings because I did put these on recently, and they're hooked up by Diodario. So big thanks to Diodario for sending me the pack of the NYXLs. These things are phenomenal sounding. I didn't get a lot of playtime on them, so I'm not going to clip them. I'm going to preserve them. And in order to do this the right way, I like to use a capo. What I like to do with these is, if I'm working on a guitar that I plan to keep the strings on, I will put a capo right over, can you see that here? I don't want to put this over the soldering iron, but I'll put a capo right on the 1st fret, right here, just to keep the strings pinned against the nut. And so that allows these strings to not get all tangled up, at least not too easily. and we can work from there. Now what we're going to do here is we're going to take this stop bar off, and I don't like to mar up the metal here, so I'm going to put like a little piece of tape on my flathead just to give it a little bit of extra protection here. This is the first time you've seen me work on the bench, so I'm going to share with you guys a little pro tip. One of the things I like to pick up at like dollar stores, this is an egg crate, but I'll pick up ice cube trays, things like that. So when you're working on like any electronics, whether it's an amp, a computer, a guitar, whatever, egg trays or ice cube trays make phenomenal parts and screw sorters. So you're not losing things, because if you're like me in the past, you would put screws down off to the side in a pile, and then all of a sudden you go to put everything back together and one or two screws is somehow and magically missing. So if you keep everything contained here, it's quite phenomenal. So I'm going to do that with the posts. I don't want to lose them. That would be terrible. Post right over here. Now we're going to move this stop bar off to the side. This is a harness I built a little while ago, 50 style wiring, using orange drop capacitors. It works. Pickups are loose. Flip her back over. Go the other way. The pickups are removed. It's great. So these leads are both identical in color, so that can pose as a problem if you are wiring these things up and you kind of lose track as to which one's which. But first and foremost, we're going to go ahead and we're going to put the bridge aside for the moment, because we want to put the neck pickup in first, because that's going to require more plumbing. All right, so we have Schecter humbuckers mounted, but not yet installed. I used CTS 525K pots because they can measure to 5% tolerance. So I wanted to make sure that every pot was over 500K, because a lot of those 500K pots will have 10% tolerance. And so you could go down to like 450K. It's just always a crapshoot. You don't know, because if you're going to order a set of potentiometers from like CTS or Burns or whatever, you might be getting, you know, a bunch of randoms. Like I said, they're 525K pots, but most of them are around like 515, like 510, 515. So this is the bridge. Here, so we got 7.37, 36. We're good, that's a connection. Perfect. So we've got the bridge, we're good, and the neck, we're good. They're responding, yes they are, perfect. what did you guys think about these pickups? Personally speaking, I liked them a lot. I thought the sustain was great. The pick attack was great. I love various different kinds of PAF wines, and this one definitely surprised me because when it comes to Schecter, we usually think of Schecter being a metal brand, not making grandpa products. And I hate to call them grandpa products. That's not really fair, but it's nice and vintage spec. And realistically, when it comes to those iconic tones that we look for, that we're constantly chasing, a Les Paul with some PAF inspired pickups going through a Marshall, I mean, forget about it. It's perfect. It's a match made in heaven. So if you'd like to check out a set of these pickups for yourself, I'll leave a link down below in the description where you can just go to Schecter's website and order a set for yourself. And again, they are hand wound here in Sun Valley, California in their custom shop. And I believe they're around like $300 a set, but they are worth every penny. If you've never checked a set of their pickups out before, I highly advise that you do. If you're new to the channel, again, make sure you subscribe and hit the little bell notification to be notified when I upload new content. And also, if you've watched to this point, make sure you give us a like. That helps the channel grow. It helps spread the word. It gets us on the algorithm, all that fun stuff. Thank you again to Schecter Guitars and Diodario for hooking me up with the strings to go on this and the materials to work on this guitar. But Schecter for definitely hooking me up with the Route 57 pickups. I am eternally grateful, very thankful to everybody who has been part of this channel, been part of this journey, and I look forward to seeing you guys next time. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.